it's Mel, and this is the Living Well Starts Here podcast. I'm here with my friends Esther and Chris, and today we're talking about sex and intimacy and Parkinson's disease.
I feel like we do this every year around Valentine's Day, yet somehow it never gets old.
Well, I think that it's such a good conversation because, these are things that we don't talk about year round, and the same is with Valentine's Day. Like, you don't need only one day a year to tell people you love them. You also don't need one day a year to tell people that sex and intimacy is okay.
Well, we don't talk about it every day online, but we talk about it every day offline, just so people know.
Because it's such a because it's such a complicated headspace, and then I think for anyone that I feel like if couples in general just talked more about their needs and expectations, that you wouldn't find people at that halfway point going, maybe I didn't sign up for this, or this is too much, or this is not enough. And with Parkinson's, you constantly have to pivot, like, so talking is important.
And I
Yeah, I
think
mean, it's
there's like anything with this or any kind of chronic illness, there's that stigma of just there's stuff people don't want to talk about because
Sure.
it's it's too private, or it's taboo, or that's not proper in society, kind of thing. But it's, like you said, it's that communication, it's that discussion, that dialogue that, it's necessary, I think, because I know, at least, talking about needs and wants and trying to, make sure that your partner understands, kind of thing. If you don't talk about it, I mean, they don't know unless they're mind readers, right?
You're never gonna know. And as a patient, you lose the unfortunate part of being a patient, whether you're a healthy patient or you're an unhealthy patient or you're somewhere in the middle. I mean, Parkinson's just runs the gamut of changes and differences from one person to the next. You lose a little bit of your privacy as a patient in general. There's things that you're constantly having to discuss with your doctor or your nurse. I mean, I was recently in the hospital, I had spine surgery, and I think like every person that came into the room saw my butt. So, like I just got comfortable with it. I was like, I'm sorry that my butt is out. Like, please excuse me. And it's the same thing with those conversations. Like after a certain point, you just get comfortable saying like, well, what about this? Like, if I take Lexapro, like, is this going to cause a problem for me? Like, because it caused a problem for me before, um, or whatever. It's just the more we talk about it, the more other people will feel comfortable talking about it.
Yeah, communication is what it always keeps coming back to, and you're 100% right, and that's such an interesting point because I think as people with chronic illnesses, we always say like, don't let the disease define you. But it does kind of and can detach you from your own body if you let it,
Mhm.
and because your body is doing things that you can't control. And so I always tell people, listen to your body, but then that can be overwhelming as well, you know? So, I
Sometimes.
mean, it's kind of that ongoing process of just being really, I want to use the term like reassessing where you're at, and how that relates to your intimate relationships. But I was thinking last night about how like it's crazy to me that in 2026 there's still people clutching their pearls, every
Oh, yes.
time that I talk about sex within like the confines of my, sanctioned marriage situation, and
Yeah.
it's still like and I mean, to me the sexual side effects of the medication, of the disease itself, all of that is just like maybe because I have a medical background, like it's all just like if I was talking about constipation or depression
Mhm.
or fatigue or whatever, it's just all kind of under the umbrella of things that are going on with my body. And unfortunately, when we go in to see our doctors, they never ask.
No.
No,
And
they ask you if you're pooping, but they don't ask you if you're,
Right.
providing intimacy in your
Well, so
relationship.
is that should that fall under mental health? Like I realized, with sex, the act, that's the physical part of it. There's all kinds of stuff that comes along with that. But you have intimacy, which
Mm-hmm.
is more mental, I
Yeah.
guess,
It kind of like
or
straddles
or,
that border.
or emotional. So does that? I don't know. That's an interesting. Not sure exactly where I was going with that, but it's like
Well,
it's
yeah, I think that is why it doesn't get discussed
Yeah.
because it is this falling into this gray area from a medical standpoint
Yeah.
because the neurologists especially are thinking, okay, they're treating us as like these sections, right? Different parts, not as a whole. So if you say, oh, I'm having problems with sex, they're going to immediately default to like, well, is there some kind of physical problem like erectile dysfunction or, something related to our hormones or things like that? So that they're going to send you down the road to,
they'll
whatever the
pass you on.
specialist is that. If you say it's because of something like mental, then they're going to pass you
Yes.
on to the people like that instead of just kind of, treating us as the whole thing because they're they're not mutually exclusive. I know I have a lot of followers that are always like, well, those are good problems to have because I literally cannot perform the act or complete the act,
Yeah.
which is,
Common.
again, all very much intertied with physical and mental, right? But there's so many other things that we can do that are intimate, you
Yes.
know, besides that. I
Yeah.
mean, especially revolving around touch. I just think there's plenty of evidence out there about how important human touch is. And somehow we've sort of distanced ourselves from that, I think, with the
Mhm.
onset of technology and all of those of us that kind of became recluses during the pandemic.
You
you know,
want more intimacy? Put your phone down. There's my advice.
exactly.
Put it down. Put it over here. Turn it
Pay,
off.
pay
You'll be
attention to the other.
okay.
Pay attention to the other person in the room.
Yeah. And then just breathe. It'll be fine. Your phone will be fine. It's taken care of.
Yeah,
It'll
put
come
put it
back.
down, turn it off, turn the volume down, and
It won't forget you when you're gone. It's all right. It's okay. Just put it down for a minute. And then look at the other person that you're with and
yeah.
talk to them. Hold their hand, touch their face, flirt with them. Like we're not gonna break. A lot of the problems with intimacy and chronic disease is like we look fragile. So then our partners think, well, I shouldn't. I don't dare. I mustn't. And then we're like, no, please, please, just here I am. It's good. It's cool. Everything's all right. I'm not gonna break. It's all here. It's all connected. And that makes it hard because then even as much as you communicate it, it makes it very difficult for your partner to see that you're not kind of just trying to, you know, bite the
That
bullet and
we're
just do what
we're
needs to be done.
right. We're not completely broken. We just it's. I think it's like any kind of movement or whatever. You have to figure out ways that are maybe just a bit different than what you were doing before, and that in itself can be daunting trying to figure
Mm-hmm.
out because what if something you try you enjoy but your partner's like ew no or it doesn't like the expectations are I don't know
Well,
not
that's where negotiation comes in. Like that's where
right
you sit and you
right
have a conversation with, I think, because my relationships are a little bit more, I don't know, I guess like left of center or right of center. Um, Negotiation is a big part of any relationship for me. So, like, I think that everyone should sit down and have a conversation about expectations, even when you're starting a relationship. Not probably not like the first date, but when you're ready, sit down and have a conversation with your partner and expectations and things that you think are missing. And like, it doesn't have to be a critical, a criticizing conversation. But it could be very eye opening.
yeah
um, and then that kind of alleviates the need to have those moments where your partner's like, oh my God, what? Because I mean, as people with Parkinson's, we all know, I think we've all experienced some sort of impulse control issues, and sex issues were my first one. I worked at a bar, and I like to tell people, like, I had quite a few, not quite a few, but I had one or two coyote ugly moments where I'm like, what the hell am I doing talking to this guy? Like, red flag, go home, and saved myself. But it the brain the brain stuff do be getting to you sometimes when the hormones kick in. So
And
that's why
those impulses are quite strong too.
yeah,
I
oh
mean,
yeah, it's hormones.
because it's so deeply rooted
Mhm.
and
'Cause we wants the dopamine.
Yeah, the impulse control stuff, it's such probably the one of the last taboo subjects I feel like in the community. I mean, I've been talking about it forever, as has
Yeah.
Mel, and still people are surprised when I bring it
we
up, and they're like, "Wait, this is a thing?" And I'm like, "I don't
Yeah.
understand how you guys are just flopping around out here not knowing about this." When I first brought it up to my movement disorder specialist, um, was when I was on when I had started rasagiline on top of carbidopa-levodopa. That combination really screwed me up. And
Yeah.
people always want to point to the agonist, and I'm on an agonist now. But I did not have anywhere near that reaction with the agonist that I had on that rasagiline combo, which is in the literature. It's just rare, er, but it can happen with any of the dopaminergic agents, any
Mhm.
of them, because they're all impacting, dopamine. And so, like, when I told my MDS, I remember I'll never forget what he said. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I hear that all the time. Why don't you guys talk about that more?" And I said, "Why don't you talk about it
Yeah.
more?" Like, I feel like if you're seeing this all the time, you should have told me,
You're
not
the
me
doctor.
coming back and telling you,
Point of
And
warning, you might be doing things that are bad for you. You might want to watch out for that.
I mean, you should at least get a flyer or something about it. Yeah,
Something like just,
right. If I mean, if they're not going to talk about it, at least
ye intruders beware. Like, come on, like even Goonies got a warning. Like, let's just have something. Because we're constantly dopamine chasing. We're chasing, we're chasing, we're chasing, we're chasing. And the most fascinating thing about dopamine chasing is your brain does not produce the most dopamine when you get the thing that you want. Your brain does not give you all the dopamine when you have sex. Your brain gives you the dopamine when you're building up. Your
yeah.
brain gives you dopamine when you build intimacy with your partner. That's the fascinating thing about it. Once you've done whatever you're going to do, that dopamine plummets. And that's why we want to take a snooze afterwards, because it's gone. So you want to do what you can to prolong the intimacy with your partner, like even at a base level where it's not going to lead to sex, because that's the thing that's actually going to make you feel the best. And you can get that all the time, even in front of people. So those are the things that we don't know that we need to know, those and small tools that we can use to help us and help our relationship, because whose partner doesn't want a little bit more attention, myself included.
yeah, and that's what's so crazy about it is I think it's just um like so many things in Parkinson's, like a mixed blessing, you know?
Yeah.
Because the flip side of that is, like you said, I mean, you can prolong the
Yeah.
experience, like till the cows come home, because that's the best part. And it should, in a way, take the pressure off your partner, because, like, I'm just along for the ride. I'm enjoying the ride. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
It's all good. I'm
like the destination is just an added bonus. And
fine.
but I think for them, it's frustrating, because they're looking at that endpoint, and it's like that's not even. I mean, it's a lot harder to reach now because,
Yeah.
again, of the disease and the medication. That goalpost feels like it just gets moved,
Yeah.
unfortunately, you know,
Take over.
um, because of different reasons. But it's really initiation of everything,
Yeah.
not just like getting up from a chair or things like that. Taking those first steps with anything is a lot more difficult with Parkinson's. So
Yes.
I hear from a lot of people that I think just give up on things, that because they become more difficult. And I've been trying to really look more at myself and see what I can change to make
Mhm.
that easier. And that came a lot from like working with my therapist, because he was telling me like, I told him, I said, I feel like I don't even know how to, get back to that place of real joy in my relationship. And he was like, yes, you do, Esther. Like you did it before. And that's true. I mean, we've all done this,
Sure.
this before. We just have to, not give up and adapt. And I think people
Mhm.
with Parkinson's are masters of adaptation
Yeah.
and in everything, which is also kind of a weird plus.
But we forget that we're masters of adaptation, and putting one foot in front of the other is sometimes intensely difficult, and you get in your own head, and you kind of steamroll yourself sometimes, like I can't do this, I can't do this, like, just do that thing, like whatever it is you're gonna do. I say all the time, because Dan and I usually plan out dates for like Friday, Saturdays, like that's what's best for us. And I'm like, oh, I can't do this. There's going to be too many people, and I'm going to be off, and I can't sit in a bar stool, which I can actually do now because I had surgery. Um, and and like we get there and we have a fun time and we enjoy each other's company and we did the thing. So like sometimes, like anything else in life, like it's just putting one foot in front of the other. And it is the same thing with relationships and intimacy. If your intent is to improve your relationship, the best thing that you can do is just put one foot in front of the other and make an effort, because effort is sexy. Effort is the sexiest thing that you can wear. That is my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, I think also there's this misunderstanding that us as women, we're gonna be automatically, especially after menopause and things like that, that it's like we've just boarded up the windows to
Dried up.
and that's not something that we're interested in
Yeah.
anymore. And I mean, I obviously can't speak for all women, but I mean, I'm well into my 50s now, and I mean, I can honestly say that that's not the case. I mean, I'm obviously not where I was in my 20s or something, but I've always felt like sex is like the glue that sort of holds my marriage together, you know, and I don't want to lose the glue,
No.
but I like that glue. It's really nice glue.
It's the best kind of glue.
It's
It's
so
true though. It is true. Like it's the one place that you can just agree, because it's what it is. And nobody else in the world gets that the best part of having a partner, being intimate with your partner, is that like that's your person, and only you do these things and it makes you feel special, loved, and desired and everything else. And even as people with chronic disease, we want to be desired. We don't want to be seen as a patient or a person or some old lady with her butt hanging out in the hospital. Like we just
yes,
don't want it. We
and
want we want to be we want to be seen.
that
We want
is
to be
so
pretty.
that is so important, and I'm so glad that you brought that up, Mel. That feeling of being desired, that
Yeah.
feeling of being attractive, that feeling of being wanted. And I
Our
think
image gets
again,
wasted by Parkinson's. It wastes
we
it.
it does, because we're for we're changing, and in ways that we're not happy about. We're also still aging, and so I feel like we kind of cut ourselves off at the knees with that
Yeah.
sometimes by embracing a little bit too much the whole personality of like being somebody with Parkinson's,
Mhm.
being a patient, being, you know, somebody who has a care partner kind of a situation.
Or being
And,
old.
and instead of really taking just the time to like bring your sexy back, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like reclaim yourself as an attractive person. Because, you know, when I look at my husband, even though, you know, we've been together almost 30 years now, and, you know, he's well over 60, I still see him like that first day that I met him,
Sure.
like, you know, in his suit, you know, like
Hey,
being
boy.
all like James Bondish, you know, like that's how I see him in my mind. Like when you love somebody, it's almost like you get locked in that point in time when you fell in love with them, and you
Yes.
always see them like that, you know. But but I don't know that they understand how we see them the same, you know, and that's something that is so important because we lose, I think, over the years, curiosity about each
Mhm.
other, you know, and people are fascinating. And,
Oh, yeah.
you know, having it just to take the time to sort of revisit those early days, like you said, like through dates and stuff,
Yeah.
I think is such a magical thing because, you know, when you still have kids at home like we do, you get focused on taking care of them. You
Yeah.
know, everything is about the kids. So the beauty of our kids getting a little bit older is that we can reclaim that part of our relationship
Yeah.
that get sidetracked when other things are going on, and get to know each other all over again, because
Yeah.
Parkinson's changes us in a lot of
Yes.
ways, and it changes our care partners and our family too, and the people that love us. And so kind of sitting down and revisiting some of those conversations, I think is like, to
Yeah.
me, an exciting new chapter, especially as we all get older. And, you know, I keep telling my husband, like, one of these days you're going to retire and we're just going to be sitting in this house by ourselves
Yeah. Like,
together.
what do we
Like,
do?
let's make
Like,
it
what
fun.
are we gonna do? You know, you need to start the fun now. You know, like we're going.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
We remember how or what we do or didn't do to really annoy each other, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
Like
it's
just little things. You know, those
right.
little
And
things.
like that goes back to what we said earlier. It's that communication.
Mhm.
It's defining, not really defining roles, but just, I guess, understanding and showing that, like you said, that one, you're interested in your partner, and two, like, and you're making the effort.
Yeah. Intention and effort. Best
Exactly.
things you can wear.
Yep.
But I think we need to talk about timing, because timing, as you guys know, with Parkinson's is everything, especially with
Yes.
our medication
1000%.
and the cycles of our day. You know, you have to have that discussion about timing, because, like, it's there's definitely times when I'm like
Yeah.
off, and it's just, you know, and they, again, they don't know. I mean, I look the same pretty
No.
much either way. So the timing of meds and everything else is very, very important. And because they don't understand it, if you aren't interested, then they feel rejected.
Yeah.
And that's not a good feeling.
Plus, you could have that like facial masking. You know, I've noticed lately that my facial masking has been, you know, more prevalent because my off cycles are just weird. I'm still recuperating, so you know everything's just been a little wonky. And you know, I've been getting a lot like, oh, you don't really seem interested in that, so maybe we won't do that. And I'm like, wait, no, hold on. You know, like I am interested in that, but you know, like it's just my face.
Yeah,
Like pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
I say that all the time. My husband is like, "Why are you looking at me that way?" And I'm like, "It's just my face. It no longer reflects
Right?
my
This is
thoughts."
just me right now. I
Sorry.
forgot my charger for my computer. One second.
And not only just that, the facial masking, but our tone, voice, our
Mm,
inflection
yes.
is so, can be taken completely out of context. Let's just say it like that. From
Yeah, definitely.
past
I,
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. I have a friend, and yeah, I was trying to introduce them to another friend who doesn't have Parkinson's, and I was like, I felt like I needed to give them a heads up about his flat affect,
Oh yeah.
you know, because it just sounds very much like disinterested, and I mean, it's just one of those things. Some people have it worse than others. I do feel like though, because I've been on video so long now, basically since my diagnosis, I will forever say that videoing yourself is a really good way to sort of see how other people see you,
Okay.
even if
Yeah.
you don't post it,
Yeah.
because I realized over the years I've adapted my expressions. Like I've kind of learned to like um, fake, I guess you would
You
say,
just
or over
smile. Yeah.
exaggerate my facial
Mhm.
expressions for that because I've been videoing myself for so long.
Me
And
too.
before that, people used to always say, like, I looked scary or like a bitch. And I'm like,
I
it's
Why
used to
do
fine.
you
get that
look
too.
angry?
I'm really happy I'm really happy right now.
Yeah. This is fun. I'm having a great time. It's
And
like, no, I'm
then you get a completely, leg cramp for no reason whatsoever.
yeah. Like,
Oh yeah. I mean, I've so my dyskinesia is in my leg.
Yeah.
And I always say like if you think you can't control your body like with Parkinson's in a normal situation, like in a dopamine fueled situation, like an intimate
oh yeah.
encounter, like it's just hands flying, feet flying,
Yeah.
head
And
stucking.
then it's like,
It's like a
oh yeah, I'm
jackhammer.
doing something very well because making me tremor or tremble and shake and
I'm
whatever.
like Thumper the rabbit, like my legs going like this. I'm like, oh god.
It's like, no, that's not you, it's me.
Like nothing to see here, nothing to see here.
So you make my knees shake. Yeah, everything makes my knees shake, babe.
Like, no, I do that. Well, I think every park you use is like the tremors, like like the vibrating hands joke. Like I think that's a pretty common one.
But I have to revisit that because it's such a freaking misunderstood thing. And I have said this many times before. Just because my hand shakes does not mean I can control it. And it
Right.
actually becomes an exercise in futility and frustration because it's like you should be able to rein it in for useful purposes, but you in fact
Mhm.
cannot. And it makes it
Doesn't work that
even
way.
more
My
frustrating.
hand will be like dead as a doornail. It's like, nah, I'm not doing anything. You're like, come on, you did this before. No, nothing, nothing.
But
Like, come on, muscle memory.
yeah,
Yep,
exactly.
yep.
But because people always tell me like, well, that's an interesting topic, Esther, but like I live alone, and I'm like, that ain't stopping 99.9% of the population, y'all. I'm just saying, like if you don't know yourself, how the heck is somebody else gonna know you? You know what I mean?
Practice makes
Like
perfect.
exactly. And especially in this day and age, like the things that are available. Okay, I have not been in a while because I'm just like stocked up. But the tech people love to talk about how much tech can improve all of our ish problems in life and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like give everybody a really important pro tip. If you want a vibrotactile device that's guaranteed to boost your dopamine, it's called a vibrator, guys. It's not new technology. Buy it, stick it wherever you want. I promise you, you're gonna feel better after. Like, I just don't understand why, like, we don't. I don't know. Do you guys remember that Jennifer Sullivan video that I
Oh
reposted,
yes.
where she made like a fake infomercial about that, and it made me laugh so
Greatest.
much. It was from back before I think before the Villain Ball came out. It's like 5 years old or something.
I
But I
remember that.
laughed so hard because it's true. It's like women in the 50s were, sitting on top of their tumble dryers, for a reason.
Off the washing machine.
But we'll search for dopamine under every rock, but not under our sheets, you know what I
Right.
mean? It just like makes no sense to
Oh
me.
no.
It's
Because
free and the gift that keeps on
taboo,
giving.
right? It's that's not acceptable in modern society to speak of said things.
Right. It's
Well,
still not though because we still live in a puritanical
yep.
like society. Like what are we doing here? Like me think if we still wants to do this, you
Mhm.
know, like I mean, look at the population and how it's grown. Like obviously like sex isn't something that we think is only for procreation these days. So, you know, it's all right to like it. It's all right to want it. It's all right to be over 50 with Parkinson's and still do it. Like these things are okay.
At what age do we get to officially say that we are the old people that are making these things acceptable? Because like I said, I'm 51, so
So
trust and believe. Revisit us when I'm 80, and I still will be saying this kind of like, I promise you.
what was there? There was that statistic for people for nursing homes when Viagra
Oh
first came,
yeah,
like all the people in nursing homes coming up with like STIs because like the
Right,
old
right.
people be getting back into business and that's just how it is. Like medical science is amazing. Like technology is amazing. And if this wasn't meant for us to do, then it wouldn't be here. So it's okay.
it's
We
okay.
won't tell.
We have sanctioned this conversation
But
for
don't be
doing.
jumping into someone's DMs and saying something creepy after you watch this because
No.
that's not nice.
Oh, yeah. I had a whole conversation with a new person that I'm mentoring online, and they were like, why are people sending me weird, cringy, uncomfortable DMs? And I'm
Mhm.
like, yeah, welcome to our world. Like, that's
Mhm.
another important topic, which is boundaries, you
Yes.
know, just in general. But I feel like, especially as women, like having strong boundaries as to what
Yes.
is and isn't appropriate for people to talk to you about.
Yeah, like
We are
please
not
ask
your
for
we are not your doctor. We are not your sex therapist. We are women in relationships, and like that's not cool.
like at the very least you should ask like, "Hey, like, you know, I know you're just an internet personality, but is it okay if I ask you a
Yeah.
provocative question? Like just don't send me a picture of your wiener with no context. That's not cool, bro. That's not cool. We don't like that.
Yeah,
Stop
it's
that. That's not nice. Introduce yourself first.
mm.
My
But
eyes are
don't
here.
but I mean it does, I think, go back to the impulse control stuff and why I think you and I in particular talk about this so
Mhm.
much because I mean it's 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 upsetting and sad to me too
Yeah.
that I know so many people are struggling with that, you know,
Yes. And it gets
and
scary.
are not talking to their doctors about it,
Yeah.
are not talking to their family members about it. You know, even if you don't talk to your neurologist about it, like that kind of stuff, you can also talk to your primary care
Yeah. Or your
about,
therapist.
or your
Like,
therapist or anything, because you have to ask yourself, like, is what you're doing like normal? That's
yeah.
what I, which is a hard question because I'm a weird person. My
Like, is it
husband,
safe?
my,
What are you
my
saying?
husband always says, I'm like,
It's like
I
normal.
think I'm
What
doing
is
this
this?
weird thing. He's like, you're always weird, Esther.
You're always doing this weird thing. I get that a lot. But like, yeah, but if it's beyond the norm for you, you know, if it's not part of your like typical behavior, like if it's not typical, then and you're questioning it yourself and you're saying things like I was like, why am I doing this? That's you wanna talk about that. Just to be sure that this is where you want to be, you know, before you get yourself into something that you may not want to continue. Um, it's just so important to just understand what's going on with your mind space because it will it'll take you over the impulse control, you know, and you know, all of this stuff like it is hard to talk about. You know, you walk into your doctor and you tell them like, you know, my body image is really bad. Like, what do I do about it? And they're like, you know, just take a pill, and it doesn't work
Yeah.
that way. You gotta talk about it first. So important, important, important.
Yeah. And I think especially when we do medication changes,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are switching over For example, from Rytari to Crexont and things like that, because of
Mhm.
supply chain stuff and things like that, or people are going on and off the pump. I'm hearing a lot of different experiences from that. And I think people forget, because they don't want talk to us about it. They're always, talking about, you know, um, other possible side effects, that when you switch, you forget that this is changing your brain chemistry,
Yes.
and that's going to impact um, your mood, your is everything, and
Yeah.
then people will be like, oh, well, I'm having this problem and that problem, I'm obsessing about this or that, and I'm like, well, did you change your medication
Yeah. What have you
recently?
changed?
And they're
Yeah.
like, yeah. And I'm like, ding, 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 ding. You know what I
If
mean?
you've changed something and you're acting different, then that's something that you want to look into. Even if it's something small, because like this is brain chemistry, and I don't think we really, a lot of us don't realize how much that affects you, because your brain just brains. It just
That brain chemistry, it messes with everything, or it can. And I think we forget that sometimes, just
you know
how it not only affects movement, but all of the non-motor issues.
I had an experience that was right when I got diagnosed, was when I first met Dan. And I struggled with, like, we talked for a few months before we actually had a chance to meet up, because of his work demands and my schedule with the girls and stuff like that. And when we finally did meet up, um I struggled for like a few weeks beforehand, thinking like, should I tell him right away that I have Parkinson's? I feel like it would be unfair not to tell someone, especially if you end up making a connection and then like they're forced to go, oh, well, like I'd rather just rip that band-aid off in the beginning.
And oh, by the way, I have this little
Yeah,
issue.
like, oh, now that you love me and I love you, I've got this thing. There's this thing I got going on. Like, I had a friend with Parkinson's who never told people that she had Parkinson's, and would just tell people when she'd go on dates and stuff that like she just had brain surgery, she had DBS, and that she was still recovering from brain surgery. And we talked about that, and I asked her if she felt like that was unfair, and she was like, it's my reality. Like, this is how I'm going to share it. But for me, personally, I just put it out there. I was like, hey, listen, before we sit down and have this lovely meal, I just want to say, like, I do have Parkinson's disease, and I don't know if that's kind of going to be a problem. And he said my favorite thing in the entire world, which I've talked about this before. Like, he said the one thing that probably could have been the best thing. Like, he didn't say like, oh my gosh, or like, I'm so sorry, or like, anything like that. I'm so sorry to hear that. There was no banalities or anything. He just went, okay, how can I help you with that? Like, what? Like, how can I help you with that? What? My favorite show growing up was Mr. Rogers, and Mr. Rogers said, look for the helpers. And there's this helper sitting right in front of me going, how can I help you? And he was cute too. And I was like, wow, this is great. This is great. We're going back to that same cafe actually in a couple of weeks. So it'll be nice. Yeah, it's like an hour away. We met in the middle. But but I thought that was the greatest response. It was the best response for me, because anything else like banalities, I would be like, oh god, here we go. And and I didn't want sympathy or pity or anything like that. I just wanted someone to say, okay, cool, well, that sucks, but how do you get around that? Because that's what I want to hear. And that's basically what he did. Okay, so how do we work with it? And even to this day, he's the person that's like, okay, let's think about the problem and how can I help? you know and you know it made me feel good. It made me feel like I was still important and attractive and desirable, and that was just the thing that I needed help with, and I thought that was cool.
That is amazing and
Yeah.
an absolutely beautiful response. I was having a conversation with my husband the other day, and actually, it was a while ago. We were supposed to go to an event, and he was kind of hemming and hawing about whether we should go. And I immediately thought, well, he doesn't want to go because of me. He doesn't want people to see me, off or symptomatic or something like that. And I immediately made it all about myself. And then we sat down and we were talking about something else. And I said that because he was like, well, I don't think we're going to go to this thing. And I said, I, I, is this because of me and Parkinson's? And he actually got really offended. I mean, he was like very, very offended. He's like, I cannot believe that you even thought that, let alone said that. He's like, I am always proud of you. Like, you are so amazing and beautiful. And like, I can't believe that you would even think that. And I felt bad because then I
Yeah.
was like, I feel bad that I even thought that and projected that on him. But it goes to show how like our minds
Mm-hmm.
betray us sometimes
Yeah.
and how important communication was because he said something that I always think but I never say it because it feels really like narcissistic, but he's like, Parkinson's didn't make you ugly, Esther, you still hot. I'm like, that's true. I mean, I don't want to
I
say it
got
about myself, but I thought
right, like, yes,
so.
I got the, like, because recently I was, especially lately, because when I was in the hospital, I lost a lot of the headway that I made with gaining back weight because hospital meals, especially at this hospital by me, leave a bit to be desired. And plus my eating schedule and whatever is problematic also. So anyhow, so the weight loss has made me feel like like Hagatha. Like I just don't like it. I keep referencing like the Crypt Keeper and all these like terrible dark references. I'm like, like hold on, the Crypt Keeper has to get ready for the podcast. Here I go. And and Dan said to me, he was like, you thinking that I don't find you attractive is a you problem because I don't feel that way. He's like, but I'm not gonna sit and argue and waste your time trying to convince you that I do. You're gonna have to look for it in my reactions. And I was like, oh man, he's right. That makes me
Yeah.
so mad, because like I can't fight with him because he's right. But it's very much an us problem. Like we do project that, and it hurts. Like to look at yourself and see that you look different. One of the caveats to videoing yourself and doing this, like this is my 6th year, and I look back on those videos from 6 years ago, and I'm like, wow, that chick is hot. Like I want to meet her, and she's me, but not anymore. But still, but not today. And that sucks. It really it does. It sucks. But um, I've also grown in a bunch of different ways that I hadn't back in the day, and I'm more comfortable with my flaws and inconsistencies, such as this beautiful roots that I have growing in here. Kind of just
Oh my
leaving it because I
gosh.
like the little bit of silver that's coming through. It's so weird, but it's like I mean, in my 20s and 30s, if I had roots, I was like, oh no, I gotta dye my hair now. Like I don't care if I fry it, dye it till you fry it. Like it's gotta go. But now I'm just like, yeah, this is fine.
But don't you think that like getting older and just like learning acceptance and learning to love yourself is in and of itself kind of a gateway to the ability to have a more meaningful, intimate relationship with
Yes.
someone,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is good. Like I was thinking this the other day. This is probably like TMI, but I mean that's kind of what I do. Like we be making all like my body be making all kinds of weird sounds now when I have sex
Oh yeah.
that it didn't make before. My body makes a lot of weird sounds all the
Clicks
time
and
anyway
clacks.
now. And it just, I was thinking as it was happening, like how, you know, 20 years from now, it would have been so embarrassing to me to like fart or something during
Right? You're like, oops, sorry, move
and
on.
now it's like not even a consideration, you know? And that to me is always and forever one of the most sexy things is just um, feeling really safe, you
Yeah.
know, being in it with somebody that you feel really really safe with and can communicate with, and that if frankly, I do have this discussion with people sometimes about when you lose that, can you get it back, right? And of course, it's like everything, it's different for everyone. But I really
Mhm.
do think that when I first got diagnosed, especially that first year, really that for those first year and a half, I was so focused on myself and what was going on with me in the disease, how my body was feeling, you know, all that kind of stuff. And um, that kind of was something that I had to work on with my therapist. And
Yeah.
once I worked through it with myself, made me realize how selfish I had been and inconsiderate I had been by not having those conversations with my husband in the first place, you know? So but I do think that you can, I don't want to say like reset, you know, but I think that if your foundation is strong, you can weather a lot of that if you make a real commitment to making that happen. And it
Yeah.
becomes like everything, you know, relationships are work. None of this is easy.
Yeah.
If it was
Yeah.
easy, like there wouldn't be like a 50% divorce rate,
Yeah.
if not
It's not
more.
like it's not like you start a relationship and like, and it just goes along on a way. Like you get to that point where like, it's gonna you're gonna hit a wall at some point where you're like, where do I go now? And with Parkinson's, like you hit that wall more often. But when you have a strong relationship and communication, you can pivot together and it just becomes natural, you know. One of my favorite things to say is like, tell me if this is too much, because I could be a lot and I know it. And sometimes I like to be a lot, but then that makes me really be a lot. And it's a lot.
But you know what I always say, you're never too much for someone who can't get enough of you.
Hmm. You're just right, So even when I'm a lot, it's enough. But knowing that and feeling comfortable and being in that safe space is a beautiful and important part of a relationship. But it never comes without effort. Like nothing worth having ever comes easy. Like in my opinion, like you just have to work for it. And relationships require hard work. Happiness is not somebody else's responsibility. It's yours. Love is not an emotion. It's feeling. Like if you want to maintain it, you have to put in the work. Like that's just how it goes. And part of that is being honest about your challenges and everything else, and understanding what's you and what's them, and pivoting and changing the narrative for whatever it needs to be. Sex is not the same now than it was even 5-6 years ago, but I'm okay with that. It's still at a point where it's something that we enjoy, so just keep doing that.
And then we're not the only ones that have are going through changes or
Sure.
different things. I mean, and it's I think it's easy for us Parkies to get lost in our heads or get caught up or wrapped up in our own minds and kind of
Hmm.
forget that the rest of the world is out there and they're doing stuff. But I guess it goes back to communication, trust, and just talking, or
Yeah.
just spending time with somebody.
And like not comparing yourself to everybody else, like
Oh yeah.
you're you, and this is the best you. Like today I am the best that I am ever going to be, and tomorrow I will be the best that I'm ever gonna be, and the next day I'll still be the best I'm ever gonna be, even if I have a bad day, even if I never get out of bed, even if I look like hot garbage, I'm still the best I'm ever gonna be. So like knowing that, like it gives you a strength, you know, to just kind of carry on and be authentic and give back to your partner and your relationship and your intimacy and everything else.
Everyone can cuddle.
Right?
Everyone can kiss.
Right?
I'm
Hold
just
hands.
saying.
Hold
I'm
hands.
just
Like,
saying.
you
I
know,
mean, yeah,
like
T-Rex claw can clamp down on a in a hand holding situation, right?
right? Like
Yeah.
I can hold hands with a T-Rex hand or Lego man hand or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call this. Like it you know, it still works. You just kind of got to do it this way. I've got a left hand. My left hand's all right. So I
And
just
I've, like you said, I've noticed that even when I am just so off that I can't move, everything hurts. Just Angie coming up and just giving me a hug.
yeah.
It's just that warm fuzzy feeling that you get, from the person that you've,
Mhm.
I guess, fell in love with years ago at the in when she worked in the lingerie department at J.C. Penney's.
And you can fall in love over and over again,
Oh yeah,
you know.
yeah. Well, and we do because we do change.
I just always also just want to say, like, don't be afraid to try new things. You
Oh
know,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think people are like, especially, in long-term relationships, you get sort of like in this little routine of perfunctory sex. And I mean, I'm not saying like go out and swing from your ceilings or something, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying like be curious about all things in life.
or
Vanilla was made for
remember the
candor.
old things that you did when you first started your relationship. That have the spontaneity or whatever of.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're not saying like go out there and just get buck wild, but you know, but leave vanilla for candles and try something different, you know. Like take a class together, you know, do something fun. You never know when you can build intimacy or you find something that you like, you know. It's everywhere. Like you can date your partner even inside your house. Like you don't even have to go anywhere.
Did you guys ever see that episode of oh, what's the name of it? I forgot that funny show about families with the guy from Married with Children.
Oh yeah, Modern Family.
Modern Family, yeah.
Yeah.
Where they would do a date night where they like meet at a hotel and they pretend like they don't know each other, you know?
Yeah.
Like I've always wanted to do that. I'm gonna do that, you know?
That would kind of be
Like
fun.
like kind of role playing type things where you're like, "Hello, Mr. Smith. Are you here on business? Business or pleasure?" I love that episode. It's
I
so
see you
funny.
left Mrs. Smith behind today.
So if you see me and my husband at a hotel pretending like we don't know each other,
Yeah, just keep walking. Just keep walking.
maybe we'll do that at the next conference I go to.
Oh God, that would be so funny.
That would be hilarious.
Oh, God. It
have him
kind of would.
have
Isn't
him
that
pick
your
me up at
husband
a
over
bar.
there? No,
Have
no.
him. So I think one last thing I want to talk about though is like love language.
Yes.
Like how important it is to know your person's love language because my husband is all about like feeding me and
Yeah.
stuff
And
like
your
that
own.
and acts. I call it kind of like acts of service.
Hmm.
And my that's my love language is basically to be worshipped as a goddess. I don't know
You
if
did
that's
tell me that
a
the
love
other day.
language. I don't know if that's like a real love language or
It's gonna
just
be
like a
whatever
me
you want
thing.
it to be.
So
Yeah.
like it dovetails very nicely.
If it fits, if it fits, I sits. Mine is acts of service. Like it always has been. Like being able to and feeding people. Like I'm very much like that too. Like
Yeah.
especially now because I can't eat a lot of foods because of all the digestion issues and blah blah blah. Like I like to cook for people the things that I love so that I can still love them, through somebody else. And I'm just constantly like feeding people, and they're like, "You're gonna make us fat." I'm like, "Well, at least somebody gets some weight on here." Chop chop. But
But I'm telling you, that is a turn on. Like, if you're that person that's your love language, it's like, is there anything more attractive than like watching the person that you love make you food, you
yeah,
know, or and put that effort in to make you
yeah,
happy? I think that's always and forever like a huge turn on for me. Like,
it is
oh,
because
you're
it's
doing the
just for
laundry.
you. It's yeah, it's little things like that, when Dan went away for Christmas to visit his daughters. He always has to fly over to Europe, and he's gone for a month. So when he came back, I just like did a few things around his house, and because we missed Christmas and everything, Christmas, New Year's, everything, and that's normal, so it doesn't really bother me. But I put like a little welcome back sign on, and I cleaned up his house a little bit, and his bathroom, which being a guy that lives on his own is, oh Lord. So that was more for me. And then I washed his sheets and made his bed, because and there's nothing nicer than laying in a bed, nicely made bed with like clean sheets. And he got home and he's exhausted, because it takes 2 days to get back from where he goes. And he crawled into his bed with his cats, and he was like, he's got 3 cats, and he was like, "Oh my god, you washed my sheets." He's like, "That's so nice." And he just was like, he was so tired. He was like, "I love you," and that was it. He was asleep. And to me, that was so fulfilling, just to be able to, because I didn't say anything, I just did it, and he was like, "That's so nice." And he's like, "I wasn't looking forward to laying down in a bed where 3 cats had slept for a month." So that's something that makes me feel good. It makes him feel good, and in return, he's a helper, and it makes him feel good to help. So if I'm having a bad day and he gets to rescue me, like when my back was messed up before my surgery, and I had all these like being rushed to the emergency room and stuff like that, he was so upbeat, like because he was helping, and that's what he does best. So love is letting the other person do what they do best for you, even when you don't really
Exactly.
need it. It's still nice.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I think that we're way well over time as
Oh yeah,
always.
probably have to edit a
uh,
bit.
but I want to give a shout out to PMD Alliance, our forever favorite patient organization that has
Yes.
tons of resources for everyone with Parkinson's and their care partners, and not just Parkinson's, all the movement disorders. You can check them out at pmdalliance.org. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and leave us comments. We're literally all over the internet, so hit us up with your comments and feedbacks about what you think about the episode and what you'd like us to talk about in future episodes.
Yes.
And if you have some money to give to a very, very worthy cause, PMD Alliance is a not-for-profit patient organization, and they run on the donations of kind people like you and me so that they can help even more people. So, as always,
This helps.
we hope
This
I feel like we
helps.
need an exit tagline.